And we are recording. Great. So the reason why we're all here today is to talk about how do you become a teacher. I always say that there's not really a one clear-cut way or pathway. You know, there's not like you can run down to Barnes and Nobles or Amazon and order a book on how to become a teacher for dummies, and everybody's circumstances are different. And so one of the pathways is a teacher residency, which is what we do at Marshall Teacher Residency. And to be honest, I did not really, because I wasn't familiar with a residency for teachers. I always thought about residencies for like, if you were going into the medical field and you did, your time in the ER, or if you're wanting to become a lawyer, you did, an internship at a law firm over the summer, something like that. But with a residency, it really does make sense. And in particular with our model at Marshall and Summit and our partner schools, because our approaches are very non-traditional, a little different and very innovative, as we understand and recognize that not all students learn and process in the same manner. So why, deliver this like one size fits all, like cookie cutter approach when it doesn't fit for all students? So meeting students where they're at to really maximize their learning potential and really helping them gain a sense of agency over their own learning has really proven to be effective. And so in traditional environments, I know for me, again, I'm 1,000 years old, it would be, okay, June, come into my classroom, have a seat, read this content for 20 minutes, write a paper, go home. And that's how you're gonna learn. And so what we've done is we've like shaped it and reframed it to, okay, June, how is it you prefer to learn? How can I help you? And let's make a plan. And so with that, our model is that all students are placed on personalized learning plans. Now, it's not to say that students are like running rogue all over the place and hanging all over the ceilings and doing their own thing, quite opposite. The end result for the entire classroom is exactly the same. It's just how each individual student gets there looks a little different. So here's a great example. Let's say the assignment for the class is to read Don Quixote. And you've got student Sarah, who is able to really get through the content easily. She's an independent worker. She works well that way. She's a reader. That's her style of learning. And then you have student, Robert over here, who could benefit from like maybe a small processing group or a thought partner. And that's his style of learning. And what this is doing is it's not only adhering to all the different learning styles and behaviors of each individual student, it's also opening up an opportunity for students to collaborate with one another, to be able to have meaningful conversations and discussions and maybe sometimes a debate. And really more importantly is for you as the educator to step out of that lecturer mode and more of a facilitator. And so in this model, teachers were coming to us and they weren't familiar with this. They're like, what is this? I was not taught to teach this way and certainly wasn't a learner in this kind of environment. So we had to reteach the teacher at the end of the day. And so rather than just hand somebody a pamphlet and saying, okay, here's personalization, make it happen. We said, let's take the entire school year, place individuals in the classroom with the support of a cooperating teacher while they're working on their single subject credential for California. And it's just that. That's exactly what you spend a year doing. You're placed in one of our partner schools or summit schools located in California. 4 days out of the week, you're with your cooperating teacher doing exactly what they do in the classroom, real time, real world experience, much more involved than just having you sit in the back of the classroom and take a bunch of notes. You're really in step with this cooperating teacher. And I know Joe's going to speak maybe a little to that when we turn it over to him, but they're going to be very instrumental in helping you, navigate throughout the school year, your mentor that is, and keeping you balanced between your coursework for your credential and staying balanced in the classroom. And we'll talk about a little bit about that in a moment. So 4 days out of the classroom, that's what you're doing with your cooperating teacher. On the 5th day, what happens is you come out of the classroom, you meet back with your cohort and your mentor team virtually, because we have placements all over California. We would love to fly y'all into the Bay Area, but we're not going to do that. So everybody will log in from their respected regions. And now this is your opportunity to work on your coursework. Now you are in student mode. So connecting a few dots here, The 4 days out of the week that you're in the classroom with your cooperating teacher, you are exposed to that model of personalization from the lens of a teacher. And then in the days that you are with your cohort working on your coursework, now you're in student mode. Now you see what your students see, but it's based on your own experience, and that is by design. We wanted to create opportunities for you to really resonate with the model on different levels so that you can continue to craft your style in the moment. So it becomes Joe's, it becomes Kelly's, it becomes, you know, Brian's, and not just a module in the book where we're like, okay, go do this. You know, we also are very fortunate because we are an accredited residency to be able to incorporate our core values into our coursework. So if you visit our website or seen any kind of information upon us, our core values and principles are pretty clear and pretty close to the vest, where we understand that students are at the center of their own learning, that we're going to use data to help them progress and build out their plans that will only elevate them up. Making sure that we are adhering to the whole child, just not the child in front of us, but their networks, their communities, their families, their siblings, creating an anti-racist environment that all children deserve equitable education. And at the end of the day, you're getting real world, real-time experience, in classroom support. That's very key, because there are programs out there that will just give you a key to the classroom, say, okay, bathrooms down the hall, don't catch anything on fire, see you next semester. That's not a great experience for you or your students. So that's really our program design in a nutshell. Support is built in all throughout your residency time. Again, you have that dual support of cooperating teacher in the classroom, mentor, who is going to be your both in and outside support, your guru, your go-to, your Yoda, all of that. These are the subject areas that we currently are credentialing in. Again, Spanish is one of our high needs, and STEM, one of our high needs subject areas. So that's why we brought Joe in today to talk a little bit about his experience, since personalization looks a little different in the languages and STEM. So I like for the experts to speak to it. Our placement locations are in the state of California, as I mentioned before, the Bay Area, Los Angeles region, and Central Valley, which includes Fresno and the surrounding areas. So with all that, pause, I can't believe I got that all in one breath. We're going to turn it over to Joe. And Joe's going to talk about, you know, how he got on this path of teaching, how he found the residency, what worked for him, and what he's doing now. So Joe, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay, great, thanks. If I missed something that you want me to touch on, just let me know. Because I'm not super prepared, but just let me know. Yeah. So I originally found the residency actually through getting denied by Teach for America. I really thought I wanted to do Teach for America, and then I made it to the final interview, didn't get the nod. And then a few weeks later, I got a message from Kelly actually about Marshall Teacher Residency. It was called Summit Residency at the time, same thing. And they called me a few times, got through it all. I really liked the idea of coming out to California, so I ended up moving out once I got accepted as a Spanish teacher. But I was a little nervous because I can speak Spanish, but I was worried about teaching it and speak. I didn't know exactly how that all was gonna work out for me. But my first impression, as we did the summer training, starts in August. It's about a month of just preliminary introduction, and here's how you get started with it. Here's the first step to lesson planning, and here's how figuring out who you are and the perspective that you're coming in with allows you to be a culturally responsive, anti-racist educator. All of that introduction, my first feeling was just so supported by my mentor, and also just the whole, there's 4 leaders, or there were when I started, of the residency, and they were kind and they were receptive. And I think a big part of personalization is just being responsive as a leader. So it feels personalized, even though they're directing me on what to do. It's more, I can tell them and demonstrate self-advocacy, ask them for more time on something, ask them for help, ask them to clarify. And it's never seen as oh, I'm stupid, I'm behind, something like that. It's always great, you're growing, here's how we can help you. And so they modeled that really well, I think, from the get-go. With Spanish specifically, once I got to meet my cooperating teacher, and it was all virtual last year, obviously, but get in the classroom and meet the students, it was a bit of a shock, I think, speaking primarily Spanish in the classroom to a group of students who don't understand Spanish, wasn't something that I had experience in and like wasn't sure how to navigate it exactly. And so having the combination of like my cooperating teacher there to help me fill in the gaps, help me understand the importance of clear giving of directions, clear instruction, and then also like you can speak in English to help them out at times, and there's strategies involved that it's like all these little behind the scenes stuff that the cooperating teacher knows that you really wouldn't know unless you'd like experienced it and learned it. So that like she really helped me hone my craft. We also became like best friends. The Marshall, what Kelly just presented said you'll get at least, what was it, like half an hour of one-on-one conversation with your cooperating teacher every week. Her and I talked for hours a day, and it was just like so much more supportive than even that expressed. It was just like, I don't know. It just made the whole experience seem so much more like familial and easy. I can't promise that with every cooperating teacher. I've heard differing experiences in that regard, but I haven't heard anything like overwhelmingly negative about a cooperating teacher generally. And the other Spanish teacher that went through the residency program that I know, he loved his cooperating teacher as well, and had similar things to say as me. So yeah, I hold the cooperating teacher relationship in really high regard. The mentor part was really helpful too. These are two separate people. Obviously, the mentor is kind of my advocate through the residency. My mentor, Sun Lee, really helped me understand like how to get through the specifics of the single subject Spanish credential, because there's some specific parts of it's called EdTPA, but it's basically like your final exam. It's how you get the credential. And so there's some like very specific things that Spanish teachers need to do that other teachers don't. And so, Sun Lee did not come up as a Spanish teacher, but she worked really hard to like work with like every single Thursday, which was our day to be in the residency and work on coursework. She was with me for at least 45 minutes, an hour. I was the only Spanish resident, and she would just help me out and be there to like just be a talking partner and like figure it out. And even though I feel like I grew a ton as a teacher, like from the beginning, like I got so much better at all these little things. The coursework was the part that I wasn't great at, even toward the end. Like I did not pass my EdTPA the first time. And I was very stressed out about it. I like didn't know what to do. I was kind of losing it. But even after the school year had ended, the summer started, and the MTR, the Marshall Teacher Residency staff were there to like help me walk through how to take it again and pass it again. And I ended up passing like at the end of July, right before I started my new job here that I got. And so yeah, it was just like so much support. And I think that just showed me, at least like from the beginning, I felt it, but that really proved it at the end. Like they're there for me. It wasn't like I could have failed it again, and they still would have been there for me. I could have come back and they would have helped me out with it. So it was like making a whole group of new friends, and even just virtually. Like I've never met most of these people in person, but it was really great. Like it felt personal. And I think that's kind of what you need to stay with teaching, because you'll get the personal element with the students, but if you don't feel like personally connected to the systems around you, I don't, it's really hard to like stay motivated. Anything else? Anything you want me to touch on that I didn't speak to?
No, I think that was great. I just have one quick follow-up question in regards to like you transitioning post-residency into a full-time teaching job. How was that for you? Were we still on your support wagon? And what are you doing now?
Yeah, so I currently work at Design Tech High School. It's on the Oracle campus up in Redwood City. It's not in Redwood City. It's kind of on like a peninsula, like into the bay. I'm not
Redwood Shores or something
yeah,
like
there
that.
you go. Something like that. And I can't believe I like glossed over that, because that was like amazing to me. How after I'd like gone through, it was about February when we did the application process. I got an email from Pam, one of my mentors, sent me an email like, hey, this school is hiring a Spanish teacher. Like, they said they'd interview you because you're a resident. I got an expedited interview process. But you need to submit your cover letter by, tomorrow night. And we'd already practiced cover letters. We'd already worked on it together. I had the template from working with the residency. So I just filled it out, what they were looking for, sent it to them. I got an interview on Monday, and then I got the job offer on Wednesday. And in the interview, everything felt it was like things that I talked about with the resident. Like, it was almost like crazy how they had prepared me. Almost everything I said just felt natural, coming from these conversations that we'd had about anti-racism and education, specific to Spanish speaking, but also like just teaching in general. Like, what does it mean to be culturally responsive? And then also they asked me for lesson plans. I actually used one of like the projects that we were working on to demonstrate my creativity, because the question they asked me in the interview was like, what's something that you've created that was creative? And I was like, look at this lesson plan I made for the residency. And they're like, oh, great. So yeah, it almost was like uncanny how closely it lined up the way I was prepared for the interview itself. And then I had another interview through the summit program, and I got that offer. So I actually had options, and like the interview process just came together so easy. I don't imagine it's like that for every teacher who's entering the workforce. I don't know for sure, but I will say the other residents, I think, that I've talked to, like, echo the same sentiments here. Like, the hiring process was made so easy, because people trust the residents. Like the schools around here, the ones we're connected to, they want to hire residents. That was very evident.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. Yeah, real key content there, friends, that I want to kind of piggyback off of Joe, is that our partner schools and school leaders are extremely invested and interested on our residents in our residency, because you all are already doing the job. You're a much more attractive candidate than somebody just coming off the street from like ABC school district who doesn't know anything about our principles or alignment or the reteach the teacher folk. Nothing wrong with that, but with our model, and like I said, how our principles run very deep within the vein of our organizations and partner schools. So it is very important to us that we recruit like-minded people who want to make a difference and an impact. And so we want to make it as easy as for you to streamline from your resident time to a full-time teacher, because we've been there, we know. But also, that's the reason for the program, is to really prepare you to just step into a classroom and feel comfortable. To Joe's point, having the systems be so supportive to the point that is pretty seamless, it speaks volumes. So thanks again for sharing. So, okay, let's go ahead and turn it over. I know, again, this is a small group, but want to make sure that we leave enough time for any questions that you have for Joe, myself, about the residency, about Spanish, any other subject areas that you might be interested in that we can help you out with. I'm just waiting for the next earthquake to come so you can all witness that.
Don't say that. Oh,
I know, right?
terrible.
I'm in a single story. I should be okay.
I'm terrified. I've never been through it.
I know, Joe. Oh my God, that's right. I keep forgetting you don't.
It's okay. I'm actually
used to it. Yeah. I don't want to put that bad juju on you. All right, it looks like we have a quiet crew tonight, which is totally fine. Let's go ahead. Oh,
sorry, I didn't know how to unmute it because I got it minimized. But
oh, sure. Did you have a question?
Yeah. How long have you been doing Spanish? I don't know if I missed it or not.
Yeah, good question. I didn't say that. I started learning Spanish. Like I'm not a native speaker, but I started learning it in like high school, I guess, ninth grade. I started and I took it throughout high school. I honestly, the first 3 years of my Spanish education, like I'm pretty common in that I will say I didn't learn much. Like I don't remember much from that. But then the class that I explained earlier, like just learning how to read in Spanish, and like that kind of jump started it for me. So I kept studying it in college. I moved to Colombia for a semester just to teach English and like get to know people and take a break from college, I guess. And that's when I really became a lot more fluent. I got back, finished up my Spanish degree, and then I actually wanted to teach English, but the residency asked me if I like was bilingual or if I was interested in like a bilingual education program, and I said yes. And then they put me on the track for Spanish, which was fun.
Yeah, that's good. I bet that's really good in California because there's a lot of Spanish speaking people down there.
Yeah,
That's really good.
yeah, big time. And like the cool part is, so the school that I work at now, there's actually like a really small amount of Spanish speakers, which I was surprised by, but there's a lot of like smaller cultural pockets around here. And the cool part is, though, there are a lot of Spanish speaking like areas nearby. So for instance, like I'm setting up a field trip right now for my kids, and we're just going to go to like a restaurant for lunch, and I'm going to have them all order their food in Spanish, just like my Spanish 1 kids, just as like a little experience in the community. And so that is a cool thing. Yeah.
That sounds cool, Joe. Any other questions? Okie dokie. Well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about admission. So there is a tuition for the residency. You can view it as a graduate program. The tuition is $16K. And we also provide a living stipend for each individual resident in the amount of $18K for your time during the residency. And it's divvied out to you every month, kind of like a paycheck. But with that, in admissions, to be eligible, you definitely have to have your undergrad completed, be eligible to work in the States. You submit an online application with a copy of your unofficial transcripts, email, and answer a response to a short answer question on the application. And then you go through the interview process, which is a phone interview, probably with me, 9 times out of 10, and final interview with our program staff directors, reference check, and then acceptance and enrollment. We also have financial options available for those that apply. And yeah, what we're looking for in candidates are individuals that are focused and passionate about not only education and students, I can't talk today, students, but really making an impact and shifting what some of the inequities that we've been experiencing in our educational system for some time now. We're looking for open-minded, growth mindsets, people that are, really involved in wanting to make a difference in a student's life, particularly our students in our demographic that are primarily students of color, primarily students that are coming from low-income communities and socially economically disadvantaged homes. And so being, really geared on that mission to promote diversity in our classrooms and our schools is very important to us. So those are some of the boxes we would like to check for recruiting individuals into this amazing program. Yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap up. Would love to hear, again, no obligation, why you decided to attend this session today. I know for me, I enjoy and am very passionate about this work. I'm a kid of an educator, so that's why I stay close to it. And I also take a lot of pride in recruiting and finding individuals who want to be on this mission with us to really make a difference in these traditional environments and start to implement some thread in innovation and diversity and really put students at the center. And that takes powerful teachers for powerful students. Yeah, I'll open it up if anybody wants to share why they decided to attend this session today.
Kind of off topic, but my mom is a teacher too.
Awesome. I know we're a little special breed, the kids of educators. I know a red pen when I see it coming at me. And my mom is the grammar police of our family. So
Yeah, she teaches 4th grade, so she has to deal with a whole bunch of bad little kids.
yep, that's a blessing. Those are the little ones. So, oh, just a note for that. In our placements, we only serve grades 6 through 12.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I might have mentioned that, but just to piggyback. So any other reflections about why you decided to attend this session today?
I will say, oh, my dad's also an educator, so I'm with y'all on that. I like kind of spaced on this, Kelly, and so I like remembered it today. I was like, oh, I have that thing, and I was just checking at like 3:25. And I had a staff meeting right now that I was supposed to like facilitate, but then I was like, no, I have this session. So I ran over to my boss and was like, hey, will you facilitate this for me? So anyway, I made it. And I guess my point is, being a resident like was an amazing introduction for me to California. Like it was a big change in my life to move out here to like start a career, leave college. Like it's a big step. And yeah, I'll forever be grateful for like just the community that they set up and they build. So if like that big part of it is like scary for you, or if that's something that you're like worried about, like I totally resonate with you, but it is something that the residency does a really good job of facilitating like socially and the community. Like the connections I've made out here have like made it so much easier for me to transition. So.
Oh, that's great, Joe. I'm so glad that you had a good experience with that. We do our best to try and make that as seamless as a process as possible. So great. All right, folks, well, let's go ahead and wrap up. I want to thank you again for taking the time to log in with us, Zoom in with us, share your the temperature in your city and some of your reflections on why you want to be on this path of becoming a teacher. I would encourage you to continue to do research on what pathways work best for you. Again, the residency is a way to kind of take traditional pathways and marry them with kind of a streamlined way of getting that coursework under your belt, coupled with classroom experience and credentialing all in one big bundle. So again, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, I would encourage you to. That's the best way to stay in contact with us about different open houses or info sessions that are coming on, application deadlines, education trends, meet us, that kind of thing. One other quick comment I will make is if you are doing research in the next couple of months, that we do have some school breaks that are coming up. Like for example, next week, we are closed completely as a organization for the entire week of Thanksgiving. And then we have normal winter breaks as most schools do mid-December going into the beginning of January. So also, if you have my information, I will be following up to say thank you for attending. It'll have my email and any other links that you might need to continue to find out more info and details about our residency. So again, thank you all for attending. Appreciate your time today. Take care, stay safe, and have a fabulous holiday. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.